I'm beginning to wonder something after watching 2 episodes of The Rings of Dower. One Amazon Prime just give it in. Won't they just bury their heads in the sand and just hope the bad reviews and criticisms just vanish into thin air?
Wrong.
I mean, it's looking full steam ahead, unfortunately. Calculated moves at this point to fluff review scores through planned review embargoes, labelling haters of the shows as isms and phobes. All we're doing is pointing out genuine issues with the fanfiction. But they're almost shutting down dialogue to a standstill. Even Tolkien can't rest without the mob trying to pin the accusations on him. A move seen coming a mile off if you ask me, and telling of the desperation the show's defenders are feeling. Although this feels much like removing a nail from the professor's coffin to hammer into Amazon's. The showrunners take the biggest amount of blame though. I'd argue even more than Amazon itself. I'm not expecting JD Payne and Patrick McKay to be mind readers, nor can they see the future like some soy boy looking mystic med duo. But none of that would have been needed for these two failed showrunners with hardly any experience in filmmaking to just read the landscape. Writing credits on Star Trek, a film that didn't even do good, shouldn't give you the keys to the kingdom of Middle-earth, should it? Or at least a part of it. Especially when you seemingly write your scripts in crayon. The formula was here though, laid out in clear sight. Make an original story that respected what came before. Use Tolkien's instruction manual. Deviate slightly if you want for artistic privileges, yeah, fine. But maybe keep it to 1 or 2 dumb blink and you miss it ideas. The sort of extra content that's innocent, that doesn't really touch the source at all. But what we've got so far is the end product of inexperienced writers doing what inexperienced writers do. They're catering to an audience who also won't care in a few months. They're believing they're above the man who made it all possible. They're bastardising his writings, characters and legacy. Then attacking the fans for not accepting it, or even worse, not understanding it, like we ever would. But here's where they had the master plan, and it was a plan years in the making. All in the form of cooperation with the press machine, Access Media, the diverse crowd and a practically unlimited budget from Amazon. They practically had it all in the locker. And 3 episodes in, the plan's now being hatched. Or cracked if you ask me. Fancy leaving a review? Well, you can't. Not a negative one anyway. Not without Amazon reviewing your review. And with days past the embargo suddenly being lifted. We know it's so the clean-up crew, aka the fixers, can make the review section look sparkly and clean. Brush the bad reviews with legitimate gripes under the carpet, of course. Giving the illusion the show's a roaring success. And since IMDb is owned by Amazon, that's about as useful as a glass hammer. We're asked to not believe our lying eyes, but just accept the way things are. But something stinks clearly. The gaslighting's here to stay, let's be honest. Here's a good point. Frodo, Merry, Pippin and Sam from the film trilogy have backed it. That may be true at first glance, but probably not to me. See, being called together in the same t-shirt for an innocent photo op days after the release of the first 2 episodes seems a little bit sketch to me. Well, it definitely doesn't show that you're being paid by Amazon, does it? Remember guys, the PR teams, they'll have a laid out plan in response to any critique of this show at any point, at any episode. But notice, for the most part, how quiet the rest of the original cast of the films are. Alongside Peter Jackson, who was clearly ghosted. But you'd probably need his guidance now, wouldn't he? But they're all likely to see what we see and feel what we feel, but trying to keep my nose clean of any controversy, which is rich because I'm making a video on it all. I'd rather judge the works for the works and that alone, something that we've been shouting for a long time and something I've been personally shouting on other videos. But to do that, you'd have to walk the hot coals of the accusation media. You'd obviously have to stand up for Tolkien and the fear to the diversity. And you'd have to watch as the NPC crowd continues to be the cock holster for a multi-billion-dollar company who clearly doesn't care about them. Whilst we take the arrows for the old profession and keep voicing our opinion, because it's the right thing to do. But the fellowship's growing day by day. Some will fall off over time and some will accept the show. That's life. But most true fans won't. Eventually, more of us will come out of the woodwork to voice our opinions. So expect the craziness to increase as more eyes are open to the truth. But once the dust settles, guys, on the attempts to divert blame, along with the name calling, it'll be nice to have a debate like adults. All that'll be left is the show wrapping up the season 1 with as much hope and potential as a fart in the wind. See, our gripes with the show's poor pacing, clunky dialogue and weak story would be all that's left at that point. Physically naked to both sides of the argument, with only Legacy fans feeling vindicated, but also bolstered in numbers. New and old fans of Tolkien alike. Ultimately, I don't want or need to fall back on Tolkien's masterpiece and vision to dislike this show, because it does a great job destroying itself, and we just get to sit back and watch the fireworks.